Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next comment question comes from Behaviour 4YV4Y. And Behaviour writes, in response to the initial setup options for the Roland TB-3 video I did in April 2019. Hi there, thanks for the informative video. I bought a TB-3 second-hand and I'm very happy with it as it's very user-friendly. I have one very annoying issue, however. There's always one. When playing, it often goes to the user patches. There are 15 user patches that are all empty, which makes the device fail. Still, whilst playing back a certain bank, any tips on how to get rid of these empty patches? It sometimes doesn't allow me to play it and switches between patterns. Please help. Could you elaborate on why you use the C1 setting, as my MIDI cable also doesn't communicate with my TR08? Thanks in advance. Then it carries on. Could it be these patches were uploaded with external software and are blocked on certain patterns? Could be. If I change the patch, it says the pattern, it plays the pattern, but after changing between patterns, it goes back to the U patches. I would preferably delete these keyboard options so it starts with A. Boom. Now I've got to be honest and say I haven't had my TB-3 out for a long while. Partly because I've been of what I've been doing for the last 4 years, etc., etc., and obviously more recently putting this place together. So this is kind of from memory. So obviously user patches on the TB-3 are there for you to store custom patterns. That's the whole reason why they're there. They exist. And the concept is that when you string these together, you obviously put them into a user patch and then you can string them into a sequencer. So the first thing I would say is, have you got in your sequencer, is it trying to refer to user patches in the sequence, as in, have you not correctly cleared the sequencer down before you started sequencing in your new sequence? And I know that sounds really daft, but if you're trying to write over a pre-existing sequence and the pre-existing sequence was using user patches, then you kind of write, let's say for argument's sake, you write your first 10 bars, and then bar 11 is a switch to a user patch, then it's going to switch to the user patch because you haven't cleared down bar 11. You haven't told the machine to go from bar 10 back to bar 1. I'm hoping I'm making sense. So what I would do here is, seeing as you said you've got no user patches on the machine, first thing I would do is do a factory reset. And if I remember correctly, I will put the link to the video that says how to do a factory reset. But I would do a factory reset first. First thing I would do. The second thing is, and I don't know how this is, you've got your MIDI set up and whether you've got anything that's potentially sending out CC programming commands. But to test this out, what I would do is I would change the receive channel on the TB-3 from channel 1 to one of the other channels, let's say 4 or 5 for argument's sake, and then try seeing if the same things happen. And the reason I say that is because quite often you can have an instrument or a keyboard, or you've done something and it's sending out, with the time code, it's sending out CC changes. And I can't remember off the top of my head how the TB3 does it, but it is possible that you're sending a CC command to the TB3 and the TB3 said, oh, you want user patch 11 or user patch whatever. And that could be causing your problem. I'm not saying it is, that's kind of a long shot if I'm brutally honest. But it's just looking at that sort of thing. So what I would also do to test that theory out is to see if it happens anyway, is make sure you've got no MIDI plugged in and just use the internal clock and then run your patch sequence. And if it still goes to user patches, it's nothing else in your MIDI setup that's causing the problem. It is something to do with the unit itself. And I say, a pound to a penny, you're overwriting an existing sequence that you haven't cleared down properly. And what I would do is, you know, if you're not sure what's going on here, do a factory reset first. And then there is a sequence for clearing down a sequence. But the first thing I do is a factory reset, get everything back to factory basic, and then you can see what else is going on. This kind of question comes from Leo Lausman. Hopefully I got your name right. And this was in response to, actually it was an Instagram conversation. And Leo wrote, "Good evening and greetings from Germany. Truly worldwide reach of this channel. I get comments from people all over the world. Recently I've had lots of comments from Colombia. Anyway, Leo writes, thank you for your YT videos. I've learned a few things about the MX-1. Now I've got my own. But I have a problem with the USB area connection thingy. Quick setup tour, Digitac, master clock to MX-1 and other things work well. Everything but I can't get the area S1 to work with the USB port. I've tried different cables and nothing is working. So do you have an idea what the problem is? PS, love your videos, keep going." Well, I'm going to try to. Shall we put it that way? Running a YouTube video channel is quite time consuming, so you have to sort of juggle this with work and keeping your partners happy. Anyway, Leo, the problem with the MX-1 might be that their software map in the MX-1 has not been updated to reflect the new devices that Roland are issuing in the ARIA range. And while you think the MX-1 is a hub, it's not. It needs firmware to tell it what to do when the instruments are connected to it. So they've been able to get away with kind of reissuing more boutiques and then working with the MX-1 because all boutiques use the same code. But when you come to the Tweek synths are another iteration of a boutique style, and it's very possible they've changed the interface style so that it won't work anymore. Have you tried port 3, the powered one? Is the other thing, and if there's a remote clock on the S1, have you set that to remote, as it will need to be external to be able to receive clock from the MX-1, assuming the MX-1 is transmitting it.